my dear friends, welcome to the East-West Show. My dear lovely audiences, I really feel that I'm obligated to bring every information to you. A few days ago, there was an incident with the United Airlines. It was just a dispute for some time, and 2 or 3 days later it gets viral. And right now it is almost across line internationally. Everybody is talking about. So what happened? What exactly is with the incident? What's the nature of the incident? And what's its consequences? What's the legality? So on and so forth. To get to the answer, I have invited my good friend and wonderful attorney, Mrs. Chang Byung-park. She's the chair of the American
Vice
Chair, American Bar Association International Section for Immigration and Naturalization. And also she is an advocate for the community. That is a proven truth, a proven fact. As a matter of fact, this is exactly her post on the social media that got me the idea of inviting her to come over here to share her thoughts, shed lights on this issue. So first, Chang, welcome to the show. You are a wonderful attorney. They know you a lot. To those who have not seen your show before, would you please give us a little background about your information, please?
I mean, referring to
no,
this
no,
incident?
You yourself.
Oh, myself, okay.
Yeah.
You know, I've been a leader within the ABA, American Bar Association, for a long time, since 2002, and actually, I'm sorry, 2003. And I mean, you know, actively involved with the bar organization activities and bring the international lawyers to participate in the programs and discussions of the ABA programs. I find it's very instrumental and very constructive to use the mechanism of the programs and the meetings to promote the ideas, you know, across the nation, and then also fulfill the purpose of the international exchange of you know, the legal programs and the ideas.
Okay, very good, very good. To my audience, I have to do a little something to add up. It is her courage that I admire so much. Of course, she has a lot of hats that she is wearing, but it's her courage, her guts, to be simple, that I admire so much. To the, if you check records, when we check our politicians, we check their voting records, right? When you check about our attorneys, we're checking about their, well, you know, statement records, right? Their stand, where they stand in each case. So to this very case, I noticed that Chang, another friend of mine, he is also an attorney. I admire them for bravely and courageously taking their stand to speak out. Right? So for that, I give you both hands.
Thank
right?
you,
Very
thank
good.
you, thank you.
So what happened with the case, with the incident, exactly? To some who just turned on TV, they might not know what happened.
All right,
please.
so give you a synopsis of the incident.
Okay, synopsis, that's a good word.
So on April 9th, 2017, and a doctor, and his name is David Dao.
David Dao.
He bought it on the plane, heading towards
American Airlines.
Well, he bought it on the American Airlines, flying from Chicago to Louisville, right?
Louisville, Tennessee.
Louisville, Tennessee. So the purpose of this trip is because he needs to arrive at the destination to see his patient. And so unfortunately, the flight on Sunday was full flight, and the airline want to accommodate their own employee, 4 more employees from United Airlines to board on the plane. And so they have to ask the passengers, the paid passengers,
remove some of the passengers.
They have to. They will, at the very beginning, they don't want to involuntarily remove, but they just want to ask people to give up their seats. But the problem of the United Airlines is that they made a mistake. They should have done that before they boarded everybody and seated them. because they're, I will explain later what kind of rights, how the rights changed after you seated a passenger there. So, the guy pays the money, I don't know how much money he paid, but he paid the money, obviously. He got a boarding pass, and he was seated. And and then suddenly, they announced that they need 4 more seats, and some people gave up the seats, and he initially gave up his seats and want to take another flight back to Louisville. However, he find out the next flight to there is the next day, and he has to see the patient right away.
All right,
so
good.
And then he came back. So then somehow, and then United Airlines alleged that they randomly selected 4 people. He and his wife were one of them.
So 2 of them, yeah, 2 of them.
I'm sorry, 2 of them. And so they asked him to leave, and he refused. All he did, he refused it. So there is no evidence he did something wrongful or he was violent or something. But at this point, United Airlines made another mistake. They initially offer like $400, and then they say they increased it to $800, whatever it is. But if you give away the $50 coupon, you ask people to use it within a year, and the coupon can only be applied to United Airlines. That means I need to fly 16 times within a year to get the money back, unless the guy is traveling around for business all the time. I cannot imagine any people will find it useful. That's why nobody give up the seat. It's their fault. So they're supposed to give them better incentive to the people to give up the seats. And then they find that there's no volunteers. So he goes, okay, let me just drag somebody out of it by force. So what they do is that they did contact the airport police, and police came out and dragged the guy out of the plane. So the guy, and then in the middle of the dragging, the part of his face was hit on the corner of the seats, and the video caught him lost 2 teeth. And the bleeding and the mouth and the face, it was just so disturbing, and people were screaming. In the aircraft, and then one of them, I believe, they took the video clip and posted on the internet, and then all the explosion came out.
Okay, very good. All right, good. And of course, this is very with the airline first excuse, saying that it is our right to do so on and so forth, and then talking about their incentives, then talking about the doctor resisted to be removed, so on and so forth, right? Now, I mean, it wasn't until much later did people realize it was, in the first place, a commercial activity, wasn't it? Am I right?
Sure.
Okay, you're talking about, let me, correct me from wrong, all right? A passenger buy a ticket to get serviced.
Purchase the ticket.
In other words, I go buy a phone, right? You ask me for $1,000, okay? And you get $1,000, I get the phone.
Exactly.
Right? This is so simple like that. Okay, now, your failure to deliver the phone, I would say no, that cost me a lot. I need the phone. You gotta give me the phone. And you can't force me to give up the phone, and you keep $1,000. That's not fair. And then, in the process of forcing me to forget the phone, you use the force.
Beat you up.
You beat me up. Right?
And
the law says that the law is on your side. And then there are lots of saying. I even ask the attorneys that I know, where do they hold their legality?
I actually have the law.
They say they have the laws of this, of that, of this, of that, and then they have the right to remove anybody. I don't think so. That's why I'm checking with you. Is there a law of that?
Well, there is, but I will give you the scenario.
Okay, very good. There are conditions.
There are some.
There are circumstances. Given the circumstances, if it is some kind of a, well, anyway, I'll let you explain. My dear audience, let's take a very short break. Today with me is my good friend and wonderful attorney, Case丨东西. She is a backbone kind of attorney. She has the courage. I admire everybody, every single one of them who went to law school, got a law degree, and got their bar pass and so on and so forth, and they are practicing laws, and I admire every single one of them. It is not that I mean, it is their courage I'm talking about. I'm handpicking those who has the courage to say something that fits the majority. Okay, stay with us, please. We'll be right back. We're talking about the United Airlines illegal removal of passengers who are paid for. So stay with us, please. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to the show. Hello, my fellow Americans who are equally protected under this beautiful flag of democracy. For that, we have a law, we have a constitution, right? Under the guidance of the Constitution, everybody was born equal. And then when you're talking about you're doing commercial activities under this beautiful flag of democracy, you're also talking about fair deal, fair treat. Right now, with the incident of United Airlines forcefully, illegally removing customer passengers out of the cabin, and to a certain point, violence happened. They kind of literally beat him, right? And he lost 2 teeth this morning, and it was on the news. Those teeth were lost right now, and we're trying to find out how justice would apply into this incident. With me, my friend, wonderful attorney Case丨东西is shedding her lights on this issue. Now we come to the law point. So what do the law say, please?
Okay, the law as relating to the regulation of the airline business, we have a U.S. code. And it says that refusal to transport passengers and property. And there is some circumstances the airline can refuse to let you board on the plane or refuse to transport you. Once you are seated and got your seat, if you prove you are violent and belligerent, or cause, but in any way the airline feel you're a threat to the public or to the passengers.
Okay, sure.
And, or to the staff member on the plane, they can remove you. This sort of kind of mandatory.
Okay, now let's see. Was he violent?
No.
Did he do anything to disturb the public safety?
No.
No. Did he say anything that I'm robbing a plane?
No.
No. And did he do anything or hurting anybody?
No.
No. So none of, okay, now the environment and the circumstances, was there a silent terrorist attack? Was there a fire? Was there something going on the ground?
Right.
Okay, that makes the airline believe he was in, they were in imminent danger because of the existence of this guy.
Right.
There's none. Right.
What I want to point out, there's a difference between refusal to transport and the denial of boarding. So in his circumstances, it's not the denial of boarding.
Oh yeah.
It's a refusal to transport.
All right, that's exactly
that's why I try to bring the difference, and I will tell you if it's denied boarding, you have your remedies as well.
Very good. Go ahead.
So if it is denial of boarding, means you have not boarded. We deny you, we don't allow you to get on the plane.
Good.
So once you're on the plane, you are seated, you cannot use the clauses of denial of boarding. You have to use the clause of refusal to transport.
Okay, all right.
That's the issue. So they made a critical error. And I heard some lawyers saying that United Airlines doesn't make any mistake, they are fine. No, this is the critical error they have made.
No, it's not a mistake. Mistake is not a word. It's a violation of laws.
It's a violation of law.
Of aviation laws, even aviation laws.
Right.
Like we're talking about this.
Right.
Am I right? Let me see if I understand you right.
Right.
Is that if I'm handing my ticket to the counter,
Right.
after checking the computer, say, no, sir, we're not offering no service to you. You're on the no-fly list or whatever thing. All right. That's a refusal. Refusal
of transport.
Of transport.
Right.
Okay. Now, I hand in the ticket. You give me a pass, boarding pass. I sit on the plane. I'm boarded, and then it's your refusal to service. Am I right?
No. You're confused again. So what happened is that if you bring the ticket, you go to the spot and you got a boarding pass.
Okay.
Or you
then you're accepted.
Well, no. At that time, there was two circumstances. They say we're oversold. They are too late. For example, like 15 or 20 minutes, and they're saying, well, the boarding will be closed 15 minutes before the flight.
Okay.
And you come like within 14 minutes. You go there. I want to get my ticket. I'm sorry, sir. The ticket has been sold to another person.
Refusal to transport.
No. This is denial of boarding.
Oh, denial of boarding.
You are too late.
Okay.
You are too late. The second situation they have is that they are saying who want to give up their seats, whatever it is. Nobody give up, and they have to bump out some people according to the class of membership or the amount of money of payment or the time of arrival. They have a way to select it. They say, sir, I'm sorry, you're too late. We're oversold. And so I know you bought the ticket, and we're going to you have to change the flight. You cannot board on this flight.
Okay.
And you sort of kind of doing something, exchange
flights.
And they call it denial of boarding.
Okay.
That you deny him.
But in this case, he was boarded already.
Yeah, but once you seated somebody, that means you accept this passenger.
All right.
Now he has more rights because he is seated there.
Okay.
And you cannot remove him because of your violation of law or your error.
All right, good.
So that's the issue why they cause a nationwide or worldwide outcry against those kind of activities. Is because nobody can accept that.
A little insertion that I would like to share with my audience is, I really like this job because it's a privilege for me to sit here to get educated by all kinds of friends from everywhere. And then during the time, I grow. My knowledge grow. And me as a person, as a man, I grow. I'm right now, to a certain extent, I'm not flaunting myself. I'm just saying the fact that some instances like that, I knew almost immediately, who was right, who was wrong. I said, the instant burst up, the first day in the afternoon, I said, okay, the airline had no ground. Right. Now, it came true that the airline, United Airlines, had no ground. Once again, it's proven that I'm educated.
You are well educated.
Thank you. I went to free school in addition. Okay, go ahead, please.
Well, and then and after you seated somebody, you want to remove this person, you can only remove this person legally under the grounds of refusal to transport. That's codified in 49 U.S. Code, Section 44902.
Okay.
I mean, and then if it doesn't fit, you violated law. The passenger doesn't.
Okay.
Now you're saying, well, there's another way to do that. Outside the scope of law is that you sort of kind of increase the incentive.
Okay.
You made a mistake.
Okay.
The only way to fix it is by being more sincere. You care about the clients.
All right.
You're saying, okay, now the coupon is not good. How about we give you the cashier? The cash.
The cash.
Then we refund your credit card. We're doing something cash refunds. Okay,
good.
And you can use the credit to fly with any other company.
Not a voucher that you have to fly 16 times to use it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. If I were him, I won't accept it.
Oh, I won't
Put that
either.
way, I won't.
I won't either.
I just say aloud that I won't do that.
Now, just to back up a little bit, right?
Right.
Suppose if this airline, United Airlines, offered this guy $1 million, all right? And the guy said, no, I want to fly. Does he have the right?
Well, he does have the
Of
right.
course. That is exactly
But
the...
I was just saying, nobody would deny this.
No. Just to say, if this guy
Yeah,
does
exactly.
deny, say, hey,
He does have
I don't want your $1 million.
Yeah.
I want my right.
Yeah,
So does he deserve a right?
of course.
Of course. Now,
No.
at that point, we're clear with this guy. He has his legal right to sit tight on that very seat he was assigned to and fly all the way to his destination.
Exactly.
And his wife,
Right.
right?
Right.
So instead, we saw something else.
Right.
Yeah?
True.
Okay. And then they started to force him to
Right.
leave.
Right.
And what happened next?
Well, what happened next is that, of course, the guy was dragged down the aisle. As you said, the face was knocked on part of the seat, knocked off his teeth, and then bleeding on the face. And he was dragged out. That the guy was just and then he walked back to the seat, came back again, and then they used the stretch and carry him over and out of the plane.
On a stretcher, yeah, they moved.
On the stretcher,
him, yeah.
removed him. It was like, I want to go home. I want to go home, and just it was like. It's awful. It's just awful scene. So, but anyway, and the very beginning, the CEO of the company was arrogant. Arrogant, I say.
Very arrogant in
Very arrogant
in the very beginning.
Refused to apologize to the victim. And then I believe NCCA, National Council of Chinese American Association, I'm associated with. I'm the chairman of the legal committee there, and so leaders from NCCA and I co-signed the letter. We sent this letter to the CEO of United Airlines, I believe in the morning of Tuesday, and in the afternoon. I mean, of course, the other people also complained, a lot of pressure, and the congressman get involved, and Department of Transportation get involved, the local police, investigation gets going on. But anyway, under the pressure of different sides, it just, in the end, I'm glad to see that on Tuesday afternoon, so about 3 days later, the CEO finally issued apology to the victim. And then the story gets another interesting twist. That one of the best litigator in Chicago took this case, and he has already represented this victim, and they want a lawsuit.
Good, very good, very good. There's a lawsuit going on.
Yeah, they already filed something. With
Okay, very good. And also, Donald Trump, our president, says the incident was horrible.
It was horrible. Yeah.
He used the word "quote unquote" horrible.
Yeah.
Right? I really kind of like that kind of manner that he is kind of a simultaneous, and the incident occurred. Well, of course that's horrible. And you're talking about United States under blue sky, where you're flying, you're removed from cabin, you're beaten to hell like that?
Well, it's a state of freedom and democracy and liberty.
All right, come on. There's a violation of everything, all right?
Well, there's this incident.
Oh, sure, very good. And my dear audience, today we're talking about the United Airlines removal, forceful and illegal removal of passengers, paid by passengers, out of the cabin, caused damage, right? Physical damage and mental damage, right? Everything, damage. And then we are analyzing the incident. Some say they have the right, some say no, they don't. And now when the things go viral, all right, the stronger voices came out saying that, okay, no, let's find justice, how justice applies in this case. With me, my good friend, the wonderful attorney, Chan Bark. She is a vice chair of the American Bar Association International Section for Immigration and Naturalization. All right. And also she is a very vocal member of this community in the term of law practice. So let's take a very short moment out. When we come back, we'll pick up the nature of the issue. Some say is discriminative. Some say no, that has nothing to do with the discrimination. It is just innocent. Let's talk about it. So stay with us. We'll be right back, please. Hello, my my friends, my dear lovely audiences, welcome back to the discussion about the American airline instance. American Airline, being one of the major 4 airlines of this country, maybe if not the whole world, is the one that has a very good reputation so far. Yet we hear their share kind of like a drop like hell anyway. And we're talking about the incident with their on the January 9th, April 9th.
April the 9th.
A few days ago of their forceful and illegal removal of a passenger, Dr. David Tao, out of their cabin that caused him bleeding, that caused him injured in several places on the body, and the lawsuit is filed so far. With my friend Chan Byung-park and attorney at law, we're trying to peel off the layers to see what's inside the thing, the core, the inside. Okay, now, so to your judgment, what kind of nature of incident? To instance, when something happens, we say that's a terrorist attack, right? That's a lone wolf, and that's an accident, that's a suicidal, so on and so forth. So, what is the nature of this case?
The nature of a case, I mean, you're saying the removal of him, or?
Yeah, the removal of him.
The
removal and the causing injury of him.
This has the civil parts as the criminal parts. So the civil parts is that you breach of a contract, of course. Some people buy purchase ticket and sit there. And the torts parts is that the battery and assault, because he didn't consent being touched by somebody. He was just seated there. He didn't make any other noise or didn't do something weird. And so, this is the, maybe, I mean, who knows about some other grounds of this civil litigation. And then obvious criminal grounds is assault and battery. And it's a horrible incident. And so that's how I see it.
So there are two folds, in other words.
Right.
Okay, is a civil, the concerning his right of getting serviced that he is paid for.
Right.
And the failure of doing that without reason. Without any reason, you're oversold, not oversold, you lied, you don't lie, whatever, has nothing to do with the right of this very passenger to be served. Right? Okay. The criminal part is that he is being assaulted.
Assaulted and battered. Yeah, and then also excessive use of force, because you really don't need to bump out his teeth. You can do some other things.
Yeah, he lost two.
Not drag him out of the seat and get the face hit on. You can do something to avoid the consequences. Or there's another ways we call it, you can persuade somebody to leave by using incentive for doing something rather than it's a last resort.
That belongs to the commercial side. Let's talk about criminal side.
The criminal side, you still cannot do this to this guy in that kind of way, because you literally knock his face against the seat and those kind of stuff you cannot do.
Let me ask you one question.
Right.
Is there a difference in between these two instances? For example, it caused me a scar on the arm like this. Right. And I had several stitches to fix it. And later the scar and the skin heals. Right. I'm okay. It's not a permanent. But man at his age, 53 something?
69.
69. Oh, man at his age, unless he is 80 years old, a loss of two teeth going to be permanent.
It is permanent. Right? To anyone, it's
permanent, right? Yeah. So now, can we say there's a difference between causing an arm healable scar or wound? Is totally different than from permanent damage. So can we say this David Tao has been permanently damaged?
You it's still the same serious infliction of emotional distress and the personal injury claim. The ground of claim is still the same.
I mean, to quantify the
you
personal
might get
injury
more or
about.
less money because of permanent or
Yeah, that's
non-permanent
what I'm
injury.
talking about. Yeah.
But the grounds of the cause of actions are still the same, because he can claim the assault battery, personal injury, intentional infliction, emotional distress. Well, I mean, this is very unusual circumstances, and then all kinds of grounds. So. And I believe the airline will lose a lot of money in this lawsuit.
Well, money is one thing. The airline would lose a lot of trust.
Yeah, the goodwill is
Next time could be me, could be you, could be anybody, right? So they lose their trust.
Yeah. So I think the CEO maybe will be removed.
Oh, that's a token. That's a token. It's the airline culture I'm talking about.
The airline culture needs to be changed.
Yes, the airline culture needs to be changed.
I saw one of the letter actually written by the congressman of Filagosa, or what's her name? I forgot about her name. But anyway, I saw her, one of the congressmen from the East Coast. She wrote a beautiful letter. She sent a letter to CEO. She said whether you have the cultural training.
Yes.
You have certain kind of training.
All right.
To train your employees to act properly in that kind of situation. Are you cultural sensitive?
Okay.
I mean, that way you're not just drag people out of a seat rather than doing this, invited. I mean, it's a violation of human rights as well. So, is there anything else you can do?
All right. And the reason I'm talking about airline culture is not typically for United. And I've noticed that in many other airlines, they do the same thing.
Right.
The culture, airline culture, is going down south.
Right.
Especially after 9/11, the terrorist attack.
Right.
They use that for a reason, or as an excuse.
Right.
To reduce their service.
Right.
To a certain point that you feel almost embarrassed.
Right.
I give you an example. Last time I flew Spirit.
Right.
You heard Spirit Airline?
Spirit? No, I never used them.
Like word Spirit.
I never used them.
Spirit.
Yeah.
Spirit. I did once flying back and forth.
Right,
I mean, in and
right.
out of Houston.
Right.
LA, Houston, in and out, right?
Right.
So they are, I would say they are horrible. They are horrible. You see long face, you never see a smile. They don't offer anything, no drink, no water, no nothing on board.
Oh my God.
Just a dry board, okay?
Okay.
And they charge you $3 per bottle of water.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. For your luggage, I have my briefcase. I travel all over the world with my briefcase.
Right.
And then they have to charge me for that briefcase.
Oh my God.
I said, I've been traveling with this briefcase forever, for the last at least 20, 30 years.
How much did they charge you?
And then they want to charge me.
Okay.
I said, okay, I'm not, I said, is there any way around? No way.
Yeah,
no
yeah.
way. The charge was $65. $65. I paid 25 years ago, I paid only $40-something for the briefcase.
Yeah,
and now I have to pay $65 to keep it. and then I was offered, we have 2 minutes left. If it is the past two minutes, you have to pay $150.
Okay.
So I capitulated. I bent. I went on board. So the same thing is happening everywhere. I am talking about culture, airline culture. They're using 911 for an excuse to reduce their service. That is not healthy. That is not healthy. I recommend that you attorneys, probably would find another approach rather than discrimination. To check about their service quality.
No, this is not a matter of racial discrimination.
No.
I think this, I tell almost everyone I know, focus on the issue of consumer service. It's like the consumer protection issues.
Yes.
Anybody can be hurt if they drag down the aisle. I mean, it's not just the Asians, or it can be a Caucasian. And
could be anybody.
There was another incident. I believe there was a successful businessman He was seated on the
First class.
and then they tell them, no, we sold out, and you have to go to low level class to fly. And he was very unwilling to do that and threatened to handcuff him. So it just, you cannot do this. Just bullying. It's like a bullying culture. This is the deal. You don't want to do it. I force you to agree.
Oh, by the way, my briefcase cost me two-way in and out.
Oh, okay.
That happened on way in. On way back, I forgot the whole thing. I forgot the whole event.
You had to pay it again.
Yeah, I have to pay it again. It's $130 for a briefcase.
Well, keep your briefcase.
Yeah.
That might worth some money in the future.
anyway, so that's a true fact happened to me, Jack Chow. All right.
Okay,
so
all right.
The airline culture is really something. Okay, now, conceptually, they feel kind of I can tell the sentimental feeling in their mind. They are servicing you. They don't want to do, right? As a matter of fact, your service is my item, is my merchandise that I buy for, I paid for, right? Otherwise, why you charge me that much? That is included. And that also includes your smile. And your failure to deliver your smile, I don't want to look at a long face like somebody has died. No. I want to see a smiling face. That is included in the price I pay for. So they don't want to do it. So I want to say, using this United Airlines incident as a window, okay, going into the airline culture, which is really, really a big chunk to talk about. Do you or do you not agree? My audience, you may not agree with me. Write me emails to say, I support you, I do not support you, or I oppose, whatever. Say Jack at edimediainc.com or CSIJack, my personal email. Both will do. So we'll talk about it. So your take. So do you think the airline culture needs to be checked about?
Well, of course, I think so, and it's a wrong culture to believe that they can still survive or still can make money by bullying their customers, by lowering the quality of service. That doesn't work out because you have competition. You have 14 or 13 or 14 airline companies out there. If you're not doing a good job, people fly with another company. We don't need to take the United Airlines. We have Southwest and some other airlines. Southwest Airlines, my favorite. I just want to do a free ads for them because they are so nice, smile all the time.
Southwest?
Southwest.
Southwest, okay.
Southwest Airline.
They say the family airline.
They are so friendly. Okay, they don't give you anything fancy.
They even talk like a family member, like that.
Yeah, they do.
Hi folks, welcome aboard, so on and so forth. Like
right. And then they give you free cancellation. You have 2 free luggages.
Okay, my dear audiences, we want to take a little break, and when we come back, we'll find out how we want to pursue, how much we want to learn from this incident. On the news level, on the news surveys, well, what happened had happened. Below the news, underneath the news, there is always a lesson to learn. For us to learn, for the airlines to learn, for whoever to learn. And because we are a society under this beautiful flag of democracy. So there's no other excuse for not doing so. So stay with us. We'll be right back, please. Hello, my dear fellow Americans. Welcome back in the discussion of United Airlines illegal and forceful bloody removal. It is bloody. I saw blood. Bloody removal of a passenger, seated passenger and buckled passenger from their seat out of the cabin with the use of force on a stretcher, moved out. The guy is screaming like hell. Passengers were all screaming. Thanks to the IT age of nowadays, it's been totally recorded. Otherwise, we don't even know. Okay, joining me in the discussion today is my big friend, our lovely attorney, Chang Byung-Park. And I love her more for that she has a guts. she has got to stand for what she believes is right. Going back many years, there are other issues, several other issues, and I was so glad to see that she took the stand that I feel myself, give her hands for. Now on this one, I'm offering this opportunity for her to shed her lights on this issue. We went through with 3 segments, previous segment, to lay down the picture to see what exactly. Now we're talking about the last. Now, this thing, since starting to right now, it has gone through different levels. On level 1, it was mostly saying that airline has the right to do what they did. Right? And then on stage 2, picture number 2, they say, well, like whatever we're talking about. They say they're in violation of a civil right, they're in violation of, they are kind of in violation of laws, right? And there are still a third one. I hear lots of people getting very vocal about racial discrimination. Do you not see any racial discrimination element in this case, please?
Well, I don't think there are enough facts to support that so far. And as a lawyer, I need to be prudent and cautious not to issue any statement that misleading the public. So I believe right now we cannot assert that the company select him on the basis of race. There's no evidence on that. And the violation, and then also I read some other news as well, the airline just, and also threatened the white guy and white male, right? And to handcuff him if he doesn't agree to give up his seat. So it's a culture issue, as I said again, it's a customer service culture issue, and they have the problem of the service. And it's a low EQ that they have rather than try to target some group.
Very good. I admire your take. For that statement, I find myself in support. Right? When I say culture, just now we were talking about airline culture.
Right.
We are also equally mentioning the culture of our community.
Right.
Community culture.
Right.
And of course there have been some racial discrimination cases.
Right.
But please, my dear folks, do not form a habit of thinking everything, if you're unhappy, you're discriminated. No, it's not that case. It's not a case.
It's always very
It doesn't
hard.
apply that way.
Well, it doesn't. Sometimes doesn't work that way, and it actually backfire on you if you don't have enough evidence to allege that. My thought is that be careful when you play the race card. We call it a play race card, and
yes.
It's coincidental that the guy is a Vietnamese Chinese, I believe. So he is a
Vietnamese Chinese, yes.
His ancestor is Chinese. He was born in Vietnam. He immigrated to the United States, so he has connection with 3 countries. But for whatever reason, and so while he is an Asian, no doubt about that, and he and his wife were removed from the plane involuntarily, and that's a fact. But whether they do this purely on the basis of when they randomly select the passengers, how they selected. I mean, I wrote a letter, and of course, NCCA wrote a letter to the CEO. We want to find out what's going on. Is this based on that or not? I mean, it's up to them to respond it, how they selected.
No matter how they select, somebody has to be selected.
Right.
For them to remove the selected guys, they have to do something right.
Right.
Now that instance, the facts prove that they did not do it in the right way. Of course, they're in civil violation, they're in legal violation. They committed crime already.
Right.
Crimes are committed already. Right. So now it's time to talk about crime. Now is the time to press charge on them.
Right.
Those officers involved and the CEO's responsibility, hold somebody accountable for that, so on and so forth like that.
Right.
But the thing is, when you are talking about this case, I want to quote unquote her, never play the race card, please. Right? And you are crying wolves, well, that will not help you. In the end, it will get you.
What happened is that it's an issue of a customer service to general public. Not the customer can include not only the Chinese, can be Korean.
Yeah, it could be anybody.
Can be Americans, can be anybody. So if you place race cards, you limit yourself in this little group.
You're limiting yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're crying walls.
Right.
Someday when wall really comes.
And people are indifferent to whatever you're crying.
People will indifferent. They'll say, hey, come on, he's crying again.
Right.
So never play that card until you
have a solid evidence.
Some solid, proven evidence. Number one. And number two, I noticed in this case for the day one and day two, I heard from some of the mainstream media, such as the famous radio. I hate to mention the frequency whatsoever, and they say the doctor was a fake doctor. The doctor has a suspended license. The doctor has limited prescription rights, and the doctor has some felon records. All right. Okay. So, my question to you as attorney, who the doctor was he a true doctor? Was he a not true doctor? Was he? Does it have anything to do with the fact that he was removed with the blood on his face?
Well, let me tell you, okay. So first, he is a real doctor. Second, he has some criminal records. And third, he was resumed to be a doctor status within a year or two. And fourth, whatever he has committed crime, he is still a human being. If he is a human being, he's still there. He still has his human rights.
That is exactly my point. That is exactly my point. And then my next point goes to the mainstream media that exposed those information as a controversial kind of a side picture to go versus the case.
Well, they want to get less support for him. That's the whole purpose.
They are offsetting the ground, supporting.
Well, they want
they're kind of shaking rocking the base, shaking the base.
What they want is they want the jury to award less money.
That is very ill-minded.
It is.
It is ill-minded. I want to, in this case, point out two things that I would like to confirm with you. Number one, there's no discrimination element in this case. Do not play the race card. And number two, there's really a downplay, dirty play within the case from the mainstream media. They try to discredit the guy. So, say the guy has 0 credit. Does he deserve that?
Well, I mean, the facts speak for itself. The guy even don't need to say anything. The video record shows whatever is going on.
All right. Does it make any difference to you if Jack Zhao loses 2 teeth and a criminal loses 2 teeth? 2 teeth are lost, all right?
2 teeth are lost. Yeah, exactly.
That's a fact. Yeah. Okay, now that we are on a very clarified ground that number one, no discrimination is sin with strong evidence, and number two, somebody tries to downplay it, and number three, we know this guy has a case. Does he have a strong case?
He has such a strong case that best lawyer in Chicago took over the case.
Very good. All right, very good. So we're over time, but we are worth it. My dear audience, thank you very much. My special thanks goes to my dear friend, John Byung-Park. She is a wonderful attorney, my backbone attorney for the community. And she is a vice chair of the American Bar Association of the International Section for Immigration and Naturalization. And she is also committee, and she is also a wonderful leader of community. Thank you very much. So, my dear audiences, we are not done. We will be back because this thing will still grow. So stay with us.
Thank you.